Well, hey there. You've stumbled upon the intersection of internet quandaries and psychological insight. Welcome to Veritas Views on AITA, where the quirks of the internet meet the expertise of Veritas Psychology Partners.
The chances of me remembering are low regardless.
Fair enough.
I mean, when I re-listened to our podcast that I did, I don't remember half of what I said.
I know, sometimes I'm really surprised. It's kind of funny.
Like, oh, that sounds pretty smart.
Right?
Wow, this guy's very insightful.
This guy's fucking brilliant.
We should hire him.
Right. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I hope we get to this topic within this, because I don't remember if I talked about it or not. Oh, we did. Good. Or, damn, there's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, that would actually be kind of a fun thing to like revisit. Like, okay, this is like, for instance, if you were to have tackle, if we took your most popular one, and then we're like, okay, now that this has been out there for a year, has our opinion changed on this, or do we have any additional thoughts or whatever?
I don't think our opinion is going to change, but we might go, we missed this in the conversation.
That's what I mean.
We've done that. Yeah. We've gone back and said we missed this. Hey, this is our first ever cold open.
Ooh.
Instead of, look at that. All right, Michael, take us into the podcast. This is a great cold open. I like it. We'll just keep it in.
All right.
I mean, edit it a bit, but make it I like the cold open.
Interesting. I don't know how I feel about it.
You threw him. He's a planner.
I know. Like
Dan and I just started chatting, as we do, and jump into the middle of the pool. And my dear husband and our podcast host is this ultimate planner who wants a predictable set of rules and things to go according to plan. So I'm giving him a minute to kind of recombobulate.
I'll roll with the punches here. But for people who are like, what the fuck is this? What we're going to do is somebody on the internet has posted a scenario for us asking who's the asshole here. And Dan and Gayle are going to weigh in on their perspective for that. So
I'm Dan Kessler. I'm a clinical psychologist with Veritas Psychology Partners. And I'm here with my business partner, Dr. Gayle MacBride. And we're looking forward to whatever Michael's got for us today. Gayle, thanks for coming today.
Excellent. Thanks for the role reversal, Dan. Wow, I usually am the one that jumps right in there because that's on the script. We just are topsy-turvy.
We're going off script today. We're off script today.
It's going to be a bumpy ride, folks.
There you go. Or a smooth ride.
Ooh, like a good cup of coffee.
There you go.
Well,
Gayle, thanks for joining us today. And Michael, you've got a conundrum for us. Go ahead.
Well, I think we need to explain what the fuck is going on here. We have not given him an opportunity.
Oh, yes, we should. Michael, please explain what the fuck is going on here.
For our lovely listeners.
Well, and I'll say, usually Dan and Gayle are the ones who don't know what's going on, and I'm springing a question on them, but clearly I'm a little befuddled now. But that's all right. So today's question, this is what the ask is. Am I the asshole for asking my fiancé to skip this year's Christmas family vacation because our baby is due?
I need way more information. Who's family?
Yeah.
Okay.
We need more info. Sometimes we jump in and we have we
are off script, and this is off script. We are not rendering a snap judgment.
No, let's go. Michael, can we hear more about this one? This is interesting.
Yeah, and what I liked about this one is we have updates. We don't always get updates from the original poster. This one we do. Update. So I'll give you initially what she offered, which is she's the female, her fiancé is male. They're both early 30s. They're expecting their first baby due December 30th. So you can tell this is not this year. For the past 5 years, I've joined his family in Florida for part of Christmas, but typically return Christmas Day with my family. This year, his family is pressuring us to come despite his initial agreement to stay. So he booked a flight December 15th to the 28th, reasoning that he'll be back with ample time before the due date. With my parents being overseas due to a family emergency, I will be home alone at Christmas if he spends this time with his family, which is upsetting to me, especially since pregnancies can be unpredictable. His family has always kept their closeness subtle but noticeable, and my fiancé has a strong fear of missing out, making it hard to discuss. Every time I bring up wanting him to be here for support, it leads to a tense argument about prioritizing me over his parents. Now I'm left wondering, if I'm in the wrong wanting him to stay, who's the asshole here?
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in really hard on this guy. Like, Holy.
As a former
for
pregnant
those of us
woman
who celebrate Christmas, this is a really important time of year to spend time with family. Baby or no, if spouse is staying behind and isn't cool with you going somewhere else for that holiday, your ass should be with your spouse. I mean, pregnant or no. And then we can get to the whole discussion of babies do what they do and when they want to do it. As a person who is pregnant and due January 2nd and delivered a baby December 11th, this trip could be a big problem. We did not expect to have a baby at home for Christmas Day, and yet we did. And it was wonderful. Don't get me wrong, but you can't plan these things. On December 10th, I had no idea that I was going to have a baby on December 11th.
Right. Before we get to that, I like your dividing this up into like, let's talk about this even if she's not pregnant.
Yeah.
Because the question comes up in this question comes up like who gets priority? If it's a big holiday, be it Christmas or any other major family holiday, and my spouse can't go, do I go anyway? If my spouse can't go because they're my family and it's important to me and my family to be together, or do I choose my spouse? Now, if this goes away if she's like, go see your family, I'm fine.
Of course it goes
but if
away.
But if she's like, I want you here for Christmas and I can't go,
and he's deer in headlights, like, which do I do? I'm being pulled in both directions.
He's like, which do I go? This is a question that comes up a lot in couples. Whose family do we spend Thanksgiving with? Yours or mine? Do we try to split the day up somehow? Whose family do we Christmas Eve with this family and Christmas Day with the other family? This is a frequent issue. I hear you saying, Gayle, is go with this. Your spouse takes priority over your family. That's what 100%. I hear you saying.
And one of the things I noticed when I listen back to our episodes,
yes,
is that sometimes we let a minor character a bit off the hook. And I go back and I listen to it and I'm like, why didn't we talk about that? So I want to just take a moment and also talk about his family. They're being assholes.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I mean, I don't want to let his family off the hook here. They're aware of the pregnancy. They're aware of the complications. They're aware, I'm sure, of her family being out of the country. How dare you ask and even put your son in that position to have to choose?
Yeah.
Not cool. So not cool.
So before we even answer about whether
you take it off the table. They are assholes in this scenario for sure, because they should have said, hey, we understand you have a baby coming, and while we're really going to miss you at Christmas, and I'm hoping we can do a video call, which, by the way, is a reasonable substitute for spending time, and we can have a bonus conversation about spending holidays and video calls. Maybe that's the content. Rough road. We don't have that planned yet either. So, but they make a concession early and generously so that this spouse doesn't have to make the choice, even if they weren't pregnant.
I am deeply troubled by his family in this situation. Yes. Michael, did they allude? Did OP allude to conflict between his family and her over the years? I don't remember now already. It's like
no obvious conflict between them. Just that she doesn't. The one thing that she says, and she does clarify this later, so I'll explain it. She says that she doesn't feel quite connected to them. And there's a clear preference for their son, which, I think is also hard. I think that's an interesting conversation, is coming into a family and then being the in-laws, how do you support that new person? But then, obviously it's your child as well. So
and just as Dr. MacBride put herself in the position of the pregnant OP here, I'm going to put myself momentarily in the position of her in-laws, and imagining myself with a pregnant daughter-in-law.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say, because I was going to go here.
Who lives 1,000 miles away, and calling up my son and saying, "Are you fucking kidding me? No, you're not coming out here."
Oh no, you didn't go where I thought you would.
No, I would not. I would tell them, you stay home with your wife.
There's an and.
And what?
And would it be okay if we join you rather than ask you to come to Florida?
Sure,
We'll
sure,
miss you terribly.
sure.
What if we came up?
But
Would your wife be cool with that? We'll stay in a hotel. We don't want to burn.
We're assuming
there. She has no family.
No, you're not in my head. You don't have the fact pattern in my head. The fact pattern in my head is that I can't go up there. For whatever reason, I can't go up to their place. And I'm having the holiday. It wouldn't be Christmas in my case.
No, it wouldn't be.
I'm having a holiday. It's important to me. I can't leave to come up to you. And you say to me, hey, Pops, I'm gonna Pops. None of my kids ever call me Pops. We'll just for the sake of this one, I'm Pops. Hey, Pops, I'd love to come down. And I'd be like, no. Right. Your wife is like 10 months pregnant. No, you are not coming down here and leaving her alone.
Of course.
Don't be a dick. I totally agree with you.
That's the conversation.
The in-laws here are being assholes by even allowing, not just asking him, allowing him. Like if he called and said, I really want to come down for Christmas. That
you're making. Okay.
I would be like, no, you can't come down here. You stay with your wife. Are you kidding me?
Right. So there's multiple sort of opportunities here where they jumped on the asshole bus. One isn't asking, two is not insisting. Three in my book would be figuring out a way to perhaps visit and cover that holiday to be with family. As I understand that, I know that missing out on that, I get the OP's spouse and the sadness that can kind of bring, and we can have a whole missing out conversation in a minute. But I understand that, and they know that about him, and they could help close that gap by just even offering to be in town. They don't have to stay at that house.
Super not okay.
I didn't want to leave these minor characters out of our analysis. And
I appreciate that.
We do find this in our offices where someone comes in and they feel maybe stuck between their spouse and their family, or they are the spouse who's husband or wife is feeling drawn to their original family and neglecting the traditions that couples and families, of our making choose. And I am troubled at the number of times that these in-law families make this demand, but Christmas is so special and I always host Christmas. Get over yourself. Where in the world did you think that this was written in stone forever? At the moment you have kids, this is going to be something that's in flux, and creating some flexibility around these holiday traditions is important. That's why we make traditions, and traditions modify and change over time. We need to hold this not with absolute rigid reverence, but with some flexibility and generosity for our family members.
Yeah, I mean, what you're talking about here is a family has a culture. And that culture has been there for many years. Mm-hmm. When you marry, you blend together or mix together or create entirely new culture in your new family. And that it may not be consistent with the old culture or the culture you had with your family of origin. And sometimes that creates tension. Yeah, the question that comes up a lot in our offices is who wins that argument. And this comes up in many, many relationship issues where neither one is necessarily wrong per se. We're always talking to our clients about differences rather than right and wrong. There's a difference in the way you're doing this than the way I want to do it. You are not wrong. I am not wrong. How do we work this difference out without getting hurt, angry, etc.? Mm-hmm. I'm really troubled by husband making the choice to follow his family his family of origin rather than his family. And I want to differentiate, like they're his family of origin and they are his family, but now his immediate family is his wife and soon to be child. And that's his family. Yeah. I think they get dibs.
They absolutely get dibs because that is where you are most needed. Now, we can change the fact pattern a little bit. Let's say, one of husband's parents is terminally ill and this is their last Christmas. In that case, maybe there's some discussions to have, but then pregnant wife says, I can't travel. I know that this is really special. You go. And then we're back to square zero because this is not bad, where she isn't, holding him back in any way. She's graciously saying, go. Now, again, as a pregnant person, I wouldn't want to do that toward the end of my pregnancy, but sometimes we don't have control over those things. And then we would want someone in place to support her for the end of the pregnancy. Now, maybe that brings us to the second part of this, which is we have a very pregnant person who is about to deliver a baby, sounds like for the first time. And as a pregnant person who has delivered for the first time, I found myself having really big feelings about who I wanted around me and the support I needed to do something that, while we have the somewhat luxury and privilege in this country of having a relatively low mortality rate of baby and mother, it's still a really scary thing that's not without risk. And I think all pregnant people, especially pregnant people who might have a titch of anxiety, start to realize that as you get closer to that moment. And while or you think things are going to be fine, you still want someone at the call, at the ready, if not holding your hand as you go.
And we're not talking about here like she's due on January 20th. She's due on December 30th.
This is more shit.
I'm going to do one of my favorite things right now. I'm going to send our intrepid host down a rabbit hole. I have to wonder what's the percentage of babies that would be, if the woman is due on December 30th and her husband is due to return on December 28th. What's the probability that that baby is going to be born while he's away? And I know that like Michael is going to dive in and try to do this.
On it. He's
already. I can see him. He's already looking at the stats here.
When I was pregnant, they said something like 95% likelihood you will not deliver on your due date. Now that doesn't say what the window is, but like
I'm curious though. What's the probability?
It's a spot on a dartboard, and we're not super great at darts.
Yeah.
So we're not.
We're already. Even before, because we pulled out at your behest, we pulled out she's pregnant even from the and factored it.
Yes.
Before we even agree that she's pregnant, his parents are assholes. I'm going to say that he's an asshole even for like ditching her when she can't go. If she wants him to stay.
For whatever reason she can't go.
For whatever reason she wants him to stay, she can't go. Now we can argue about whether or not like what's a good enough reason to say don't go, but let's go ahead and now let's drop in the fact she's pregnant.
Yes. And he's away for any reason, whether it be family, holiday, or quite frankly,
his parents are absolute raging assholes for asking him to go. He's an asshole for agreeing to go.
Yeah.
Like he's clear, like you don't abandon your wife who's about to have your baby.
No.
No. I mean,
and he's naive to think he's going to be back in time.
Yeah,
he's gone for a chunk of days.
The threshold for abandoning her in this situation is something like if he does like he has to give a kidney to save his parent's life. Like it's like that's gotta be like he's the only available kidney donor and the kidney donation has to take place on December 25th and he's got to fly down to wherever the hell it is and give up his kidney like that, and otherwise some family member will die.
Yeah,
that's a threshold that I'm willing to say yes, you can leave over Christmas for her.
I do,
short of actually having to give up a kidney to save someone's life, and I'm struggling to find a reason he can go.
Okay, but I want to take Christmas out of your previous statement. Because I don't care that he misses Christmas, it really is just around that due date. And I really think that, especially the 3 weeks around that due date, you don't go anywhere. 3 weeks before up to a week after, you're in town for that month because shit's going to go down. Now, I think there's sometimes couples have gotten into tough spaces around work trips. If my spouse doesn't go, they could get fired. Now, I think then the spouse needs to come home and say, I advocated, I told them you were pregnant, I told them that we could deliver at any moment. And they basically said, I don't care. And by the way, I will tender my resignation as soon as I'm able to find another job. Like I'm out on that company because that manager is an asshole in that scenario. But I have heard of people saying like he or she was really stuck and they had to go, or otherwise they would probably lose their job. And that's problematic when you need health insurance and to pay for a baby.
But what I'm fascinated by here is that we're both grasping for situations where husband is okay doing what he's doing. And the situations
because it's so
we come
indefensible.
up with are absolutely compulsory. Like, if you don't do this, something terrible will happen. Yours, he loses his job and they lose their health insurance. Mine, a family member dies because he's not giving up his kidney. But either way, we're setting a bar here.
Yeah.
That is so high.
You need to like run with a pole to get over.
Yeah. And he's leaving. I mean, he's going because his parents said, we really want you there for Christmas. Like, that is so far away from giving up a kidney or losing your livelihood that it's not even close. Yeah. He's an asshole. Boom. Done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is she an asshole for what was the question? Is, am I the asshole for getting upset with him? Was that what OP asked?
It was essentially like, is she asking too much?
No. Not, she shouldn't have to ask. Like, why is there even an ask here? Right. There is no ask. There is no reasonable, rational ask.
Yes.
I agree. Like, so why would she have to ask?
Right.
The answer, of course I'm not going.
Now, we often talk about how we communicate in couples. And if her response then was, are you fucking kidding me? Blah, 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 and then she ices him out for 3 days, I have a problem. But not with the ask. The response could be problematic. We have noted in a recent episode that I listened to, but it was the rolling my eyes at the car crash episode, and how was that information communicated? Like, we have to remember that we didn't hear her response, and so is he upset because she responded really poorly and didn't communicate in a kind way and in a firm way to express those boundaries? Did she absolutely lose her shit, or it wasn't just a really simple, like, I'm very disappointed, this shouldn't have been an ask that I needed to make. I really I need you home. And, how did that go? I think that would be fair, but it wouldn't make her an asshole. I would say she sucks by the response. If that massage facts pattern were true.
If that massage
she's never been in that position.
But in this particular case, there's no question that like, no, this is not okay.
Yeah.
This is just not okay. In no situation is this okay. Well, okay, yeah. In
that really high bar situation,
really weird massaged fact pattern sort of a way, yes. But under the vast majority of situations, there is just no. Hard stop, no.
She said something in the post that I wanted to circle back to, which is her husband has a real, I don't know, problem, did she say, with FOMO, the fear of missing
out, right?
And I recently heard something, it hit my ear. I did something on TikTok a little while ago about it too, because it was so good, which was this idea of shifting from focusing on what you're missing out on, that fear of missing this really good thing. I'm not going to get this dopamine hit from this thing that I'm going to really enjoy. Right. And instead shifting that focus in that 180-degree way, which I love to do with clients in my office. Let's focus on what you do get to have. And they called it GOMO, the gratitude of missing out. I don't have to, get in long security lines and do the flight and all of this. I get to be here with you on Christmas Day and create a beautiful tradition. And we'll either be, experiencing lovely, pregnancy moments or snuggling our little one under the twinkling lights and really building this scenario about what you get to have by missing out on this other thing.
I love that. And maybe there's an opportunity to, I'm suddenly getting this image of this couple, like, making some Christmas dinner together, cuddling up on the couch, watching a movie together, enjoying the quiet solitude of the day together as a couple, creating a tradition. What if she's still pregnant? And if she's not pregnant, like
I can tell you what you do on Christmas Day when you're no longer pregnant, when you thought you'd be pregnant on Christmas Day.
No, I mean, they'd probably be like, oh, that's right, it's Christmas. Like, oh, that's right, we should do something. Like,
no, you do nothing. You lay on the couch, you snuggle feed your baby, you change your baby, and I think you plop down and watch more movies, and it's one of the more Christmases you have.
What an opportunity for this couple to pull together in this time. Like, as they wind down their time together as a couple without a child and begin this new life or begin this new situation prior to. Either way, you're right. What I think he's merely missing out on isn't Christmas, but he's missing out on this wonderful opportunity. So she's not overreacting. No, she's not an asshole. Yeah, he is, and yeah, his family is big time.
Yes, ditto.
All right, Michael, what did the internet say?
So the
internet, Gayle and I, right?
Internet did not let you down. So I can't even tell you how many of the comments were like, fuck no, or holy fuck, what is going on here? Or what the fuck? Or any number of variations of that. To go back to your statistics really quick, 4% of babies are born on their due date, and first-time mothers deliver 50% of the time at 40 weeks and 5 days. 75% of them do at 41 weeks and 2 days. And so like the close, anyway. But,
tell me what does that mean for the
delivering on January 1st as likely as within a couple of days before that. So
so there's a reasonably
likelihood within the margin of error that he's built in.
And there's lots of variations, right? Like the size of the baby and the size of the mother and how she's carrying and all kinds of things.
But there is a much greater than 0% chance. There's like there's like 30 to 40 to 50% chance that this baby's going to show up while he's gone, based on what
I would say 30 to 50%.
Not to mention the Braxton Hicks questions that you have along the way. Is this real? Is this not? Do I drive myself? I'm really uncomfortable. I want to be evaluated. There's so much that happens on those days before as you're monitoring the pregnancy. But I really think he's missing out on something here at home.
Yeah, I'm picturing this poor woman laying in bed. Like, should I? When is the, abandoned? Yeah. There are issues here.
And so, by the way, she's probably not sleeping well because very pregnant.
Yeah. So, Michael, what else did the internet say that we missed?
Yeah, I was going to say there were a couple of things that were kind of interesting. Is they, everybody said you're not the asshole. A couple of people said everyone sucks here except for you, which was also kind of funny because they addressed the parents, like you said as well.
Okay.
Several people talked about like, even if it worked out okay, the idea of you going and gathering with a bunch of people and traveling and then coming home to a pregnant wife with a new baby is probably not a great way in terms of health and illness and all those things that happen at those times, COVID and otherwise.
Right. Just enough to incubate that shit and bring it home to a newborn who is little in the way of immunity. That is such
And let me really quick give you the updates from the mother. So she gave an update. This was around like November or something. So she says, my mom and her retired nurse sister arrived yesterday, which has been a huge relief. I also had a virtual OBGYN appointment with my fiance where the doctor strongly advised him against traveling. He's now returning on the 22nd. So that was the compromise, as he came back sooner than he originally did. Though his mother, the asshole, as you guys pointed out, suggested he continued to stay until Christmas, which he declined. My mom and aunt will speak with his parents today to express our concerns. Her best friend assured that she'll be there even if she goes into labor on Christmas, staying in close contact. She's got a lot of support from friends and family. She suggested they go into therapy before the wedding date, which he agreed to. I'm also seeking counseling independently. Thank you for all your support, blah, blah.
Wow.
Second,
so they were not married at the time that she was going to deliver this baby. So we have a lot of couples work to do here.
Yeah.
I didn't really fully appreciate that. And so this guy really has some learning to do about what this means and how to show up for this family that he is creating.
No.
So second update, he's coming back on the 22nd. Yes. But her update is our baby girl was born December 20th, healthy and surrounded by love for my mom, aunt, and best friend. My now ex-fiance didn't make it for her birth. After a tense call with his mother, my mom and aunt moved me back home where I'm now living. He returned on the 22nd to find us all gone. And after spending Christmas discussing our future, I decided to break off the engagement. His mother had pressured him to go on the trip, claiming it would repair family bonds, but the situation made it clear I can't marry into a toxic family. He apologized. We are still going into couples therapy. And we're trying to work out how he's going to be part of the baby's life.
I mean, they're going to have an 18-year relationship. Regardless of what happens now, they have some
kind of relationship that is.
Years. Best they have a good 18-year relationship. I'm not frankly surprised by this update.
No, actually, there's a little bit of relief, and it is a good reminder that, we can partner with someone and love them deeply. And if they're surrounded by family dynamics that are unhealthy, we need to remember that we are taking that on as well. And how our partner handles those problematic family dynamics is going to say a lot about how those family dynamics are going to influence our relationship. Sure. I'm not saying if someone has problematic family relationships, you don't date them. You just make sure they got their shit together first.
Right. I mean, this question comes up, I think, a fair bit. Sometimes, asking someone like, what leads you to stay in this relationship, in this situation? And I'll hear, well, I love them. And I'm of the opinion that love is, I'm sure you are too, it's necessary, but it's not sufficient.
Yeah.
Like, love doesn't sustain a relationship on its own. You need love plus. And this person, they may love each other very much, but he doesn't respect her or prioritize her. And so while she may love him, kudos for her for recognizing the likely harm down the road.
Yeah.
So I don't think love is a necessary but not sufficient element of a relationship or of a marriage.
Agreed.
So take us out, Michael. We got like 2 minutes left.
You're muted. You're muted.
There were two more interesting conversations that if we had more time, we could tackle, which are like, what's the threshold? Like you guys talked about if they weren't pregnant, if they weren't a fiance, if they weren't a girl, like if they were just boyfriend, girlfriend, where is that line in terms of traveling as well? So
doesn't matter.
But anyway, thank you both for another riveting debate into the collective conscience of the internet forums. Remember, morality is often shades of gray and not just black and white.
Oh, I don't even know what to say about this. This seems so egregious that it does feel black and white to me. The truth of this it was really pretty apparent pretty quickly. So thank you for bringing it, though. It was a great discussion to have.
And I always want to talk about missed opportunities. What a missed opportunity for this couple to recognize ahead of time that this can't be the first time a problem came up with his family or a family, and they missed their opportunity to have the couples counseling before this shit went down. So
well said.
Well, please follow and share Veritas Views and the podcast platforms with your neighbors and friends. And as always, stick around through the credits for whatever the bonus conversation will be. See you on the flip side.
You can follow Dr. Dan Kessler at Dr. Dan Kessler and Dr. Gayle MacBride at Dr. G. MacBride. Oh, and you can find them both at veritaspp.com. Credits. Tickling the Ivories, Matthew Reddington. Art, production, and design, bringing this show together with flair and finesse, Michelle Love. Recording and editing, turning chaos into something worth sharing, Michael MacBride. Intro, outro, I'm Kelly Buttrick, a VO talent who just happens to be Dr. MacBride's cousin. Cats, CJ, Linus, Sadie, and Griffin. Hosting by whomever lost the coin flip. Interruptions by all their children. The content of this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional mental health advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Listening to this podcast does not constitute a therapist-client relationship. If you believe you may be experiencing a mental health issue, please seek the assistance of a qualified mental health professional. If you are experiencing a mental health crisis, you can call or text 988 from anywhere in the U.S. to be connected to Crisis Mental Health Services.
Thanks for listening. As promised, here's the bonus conversation.
So, Gayle, we're approaching as this is being recorded, we're approaching Thanksgiving.
And it will air, I think, shortly before Thanksgiving.
Perfect.
The Wednesday.
Ooh.
Tell me about a family Thanksgiving tradition in the MacBride household.
Oh, that's a great question. We
as if we hadn't planned it.
Right, not at all.
I know.
Spontaneous. Michael and I have been challenged, and I think our Thanksgiving tradition was really something that was created because of our Christmas tradition and commitment. So it sort of works with the episode a little bit. Early in our marriage, we couldn't attend family Christmas, and that really didn't set well, right? We had to talk about this as a couple and make a decision about how we're going to approach this. And we did, and we had committed to being back home for Christmas, which was always a little bit of a travel for us. And if that's the commitment, then we said, well, Thanksgiving is a really expensive time to fly and travel in general, and the weather can be dicey. We committed to then staying kind of put where we live. And that commitment to staying put then led to, well, what do we want to do with this day? Because now it's just the family of our making. It's us and our 2 children. And then I know this is kind of a long and windy story, but I find out it kind of is. No one in my family really likes turkey. And the only reason my husband wants me to make a turkey or wants to make a turkey himself is so that we can have turkey soup. That's the one thing he likes. He doesn't actually like the turkey. And my kids don't actually like turkey.
That's because it kind of sucks.
Well, it does, right? And I mean, if prepared well and fresh, it's okay, but it's...
Yeah, but you know what? Everyone's trying to... See, every year... No, I'm going to interrupt here. Every year, people try to come up with the best way to cook turkey. And here's why. Because it sucks.
It's not...
If it didn't suck,
great meat.
You wouldn't kind of come up with 20 different ways of cooking it. It's not delicious.
No. It's bland and it dries out so easily. Anyway.
Yeah.
Fine, right? Why are we going to attach ourselves to the meat of the day, turkey day? Why not change it up a little bit? So we started, as our kids got a little older, creating a family ballot. And this ballot then consisted of everyone identifying their preferred protein and side and salad and whatever roll type carb, dessert, and so on. And then the 4 of us would each receive this ballot and vote, rank order what we wanted, and top vote wins. Now you can form coalitions, right? Kids against parents, whatever, by, rank ordering choices. And my husband loves a good spreadsheet. So this all goes into a spreadsheet, and lo and behold, this is how you end up with ribeye and smashed potatoes for Thanksgiving. And every once in a while, not every once in a while, I always insist on making good cranberry sauce, but it's a fun tradition because we've all had input during COVID when we were really hunkered down. We really did this a day, and everyone was responsible for a dish, and they brought a dish to the party, as it were, and we did a dish to pass. That's how you end up with tomato and cucumber salad.
Delightful. Wonderful.
But that became a day where we are about creating this for ourselves and not based on what and larger culture demands that we enjoy.
Had OP and fiancé done that, developed their own traditions, they might be together right now.
Precisely. So anyway, that's our thing.
There we go. Okay, there's our bonus conversation.
Democracy in action.
So we're about to wrap season 1. Season 2, we've got some exciting things that are in the works. We're looking at bringing in some guests, and during our downtime, as we begin thinking about season 2, we'd love to hear from you, our listeners, as to what you'd like to see more of. What's the great parts of this stuff? Are there any tweaks you'd like us to make? So we're going to use this downtime ourselves to recharge, but we're also asking and to come up with all sorts of new and exciting things that we've already started in the works with. And I say we, I mean Dr. MacBride. And we're also kind of curious as to what our listeners are thinking about. Yeah, what you have some thoughts on this issue?
I am really excited about this break. One of the things that we want to talk to our clients about is taking breaks and taking time away from the office. And so this break is a little bit also just an acknowledgement of the time that you and I are both going to be out of the office, just kind of taking time to do other things in our lives and really create some balance. So I'm very excited about it. I'm all about boundaries. This is one of those, and I hope our show reflects that. And then, like you said, coming in 2025, we've got some guests and some different things that we want to cook up and provide a little variety while keeping the intention of our little show intact. But we would love the feedback if you rehear an episode, because we are going to drop some old episodes so that they can get some more love. If you hear something, go ahead, write us. We love that feedback. That helps a lot. It creates some energy for us. And we're not done yet, so don't stop listening to the new episodes. We got a couple more for you, just letting you know what's coming.
And as always, like, follow, and share. I don't know if that all the podcasters do that, so I think we're supposed to, right?
We're supposed to.
For sure.
There you go.
Yeah, and Kelly helps us with that too.
Oh, yeah, she does. She says that, right.
And I'll just add really quick, one of the things we're going to do, a lot of times they'll do best ofs at the end of the year. We're going to do least loved instead. So I can see which podcasts have gotten the fewest listens or downloads, and we're going to refeature those and give them another chance. So
excellent. Love it.
We love hearing from you, so please review us on Apple, Spotify, or, well, wherever you're listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please review, like, and follow. Also, give it a share. This helps us reach more listeners.